Round 6 of Formula Rally was at the event that celebrates the life of one of motorsport's legends. Jim Clark, winner of 2 Formula 1 World Championships. Current Formula Rally Championship leader Justin Dale found last year's Jim Clark Rally too hot to handle. The heat was on Dale and all the teams as they left Kelso for the first ever Formula Rally stage in the dark. Dale was prepared for another head-to-head against Martin Rowe, and he knew exactly how he was going to drive.
Oh, flat out as usual, really. I love the night stages. As you probably see from last year on this rally, we had a cracking run on in the dark bit. I think it's a bit more of a challenge. You need to have really good lights, like the hella ones we've got on here now, but it is a real good feeling when you're in the car and you're batting through them lanes. I'm really looking forward to it.
In the last round, Dale missed top slot by just 5 seconds. He lost them going fast the wrong way.
We can't afford to do anything like that this time. We need to go and win this one to make it a little bit easier on the Banbury Rally, really. We've got to go all out for the win.
In the Puma, Martin Rowe was breathing down his neck, despite losing his grip a little in the last round.
Are we rallying here, or what?
We were fairly happy with our performance on the gravel stages, but on the mixed surface stages, you know, we weren't competitive. You know, the 106 was a lot faster than both of the Pumas, so it was a bit frustrating, but up here it's a different story, hopefully.
Rowe stormed into the season with victory in the first 2 events. Since then, it's been advantage Dale, and time was running out.
Really, we haven't got an option here. We have to win the rally. If we don't, for whatever reason, the championship's lost. We have to win this rally, and we have to win Banbury, you know, to get the championship. So it's a pretty simple plan, really.
Life was far from simple in the last round for Mats Andersen. His Proton had been drinking gallons of juice and dribbling it round the car. To avoid going out with a bang, he called it a day. But had he nailed the problem?
It was rated to heat. The heat from the exhaust couldn't move away. We sorted the problem, and the car seems to be working very fine. We did a small shakedown yesterday, and everything worked very well.
VW have had a reliability roller coaster this year. Lots of early exits, pressure on.
It's going to be obviously in at the deep end again, but I had 10 minutes in the car yesterday around the airfield, so there's not a lot you can really change around there, so I just take their word for it for how it felt. Obviously now they're throwing the dark into it as well, which is going to make it even harder again, but I think at the end of the day it's just a case of trying to get into a good rhythm early on and see how we go, really.
It's been a difficult season for all the VW crew.
The team have done a great job. They've been working really hard with difficult circumstances all year, so we need to try and pull something off just for them, really.
So plenty of motivated teams with a point to prove, as the roar of Justin Dale's Peugeot reminded those who live in this part of Berwickshire there was a good reason to close the public roads.
Caution left 1 of a big crest jump, 150. Crest and left 2, and crest and right 5.
Justin Dale was translating the urgency of Andrew Bardry's instructions into a blistering stage 1 drive.
Left 1 of a crest, 50. Left 2 bump over crossroads, 80. Big crest.
The Peugeot pair had unleashed their pre-start adrenaline and delivered a time to test the best. And test Martin Rowe, who was pushing hard. If he let Dale break away, his title hopes would be over.
Care, crest, jump middle, 300.
On the rev limiter, in 6th, the Puma was running for its life.
Crest, 40, left 3 plus, 70.
Rowe had pace. Team after team failed to match it. Justin Dale, though, was 6 seconds quicker. David Higgins was on a mission, nearly pushing it too hard. But under the cover of darkness, the Polo was delivering one of its best drives of the year.
Oh. Right over 350.
Higgins was pulling the punches and pushing the Polo to the limit. But there were power problems on board as the engine roared against the rev limiter. Third fastest stage 1 time, though, for this pair. In the works Proton, Mats Andersen had local knowledge in the passenger seat. Claire Mole lives in this part of Berwickshire.
Left 4 continues and takes. Right 6 to left 5, minus of a junction 5.
Fifth fastest on stage 1, 1 place behind Simon Major's privateer Proton. They and everyone else would get some sleep before stage 2. Early morning, and Justin Dale needed more of the same. And that's exactly what he delivered. His stage 2 drive was almost as emphatic as his nighttime performance. Fastest by 5 seconds. It was a dream start for the team determined to finish the job at the Jim Clark Rally and go to the last event with the championship title in the bag.
Black crest, 150, damp braking, left 8. And square right plus.
Dale was flying down the 4th stage, delivering another superb time. But the Peugeot pair will remember that moment for a long, long time. Dale's head was down.
Right 4, right. Sorry?
Broke the shaft.
Can we get out of the stage?
Don't know. Keep an eye on Martin behind.
Yeah.
They nursed the injured beast, waiting for Rose Puma to pounce. A heavy landing, a broken drive shaft, a defeated team. All in a moment. Seconds later, totally unaware of the drama, Rowe was on the same stretch, throwing everything at it to try and claw back time on Dale.
Right 4 plus 30, right 7, left 7 over gravel.
Rowe and Wood were just seconds away from a sight that may be the defining moment of this championship.
Okay.
They snaked past the parked Peugeot.
Crest 20, left 5.
Exclamation, but no comment. They still had to win the rally to prevent Dale taking the title. Dale was no longer in control of the show, and he struggled to come to terms with that and was showing the pain. David Higgins had put the pain of previous retirements behind him. He was on the pace, and whilst Dale stewed in silence, the VW team could make his day if they beat Martin Rowe.
Right 7,
And the form they were showing so far indicated they just could. Quickest car around the 3rd stage, second fastest on stage 4.
Black crest, 180. You've got another couple of gears in your bag, have you?
But as David Higgins asked co-driver Michael Gibson if he had an extra couple of cogs, they were still short on power, which makes the Polo a frighteningly potent prospect if everything's going well. And whilst VW was still keeping the pressure on, Simon Major was struggling to deliver his superb nighttime form and slipping down the leaderboard in the Proton. Disappointing for Major, but Justin Dale would have swapped places. Dale was still shell-shocked. With the works Peugeot out, Mats Andersson was fastest on the 4th stage. He was starting to deliver his pre-start confidence.
3 plus 200. Crest 400.
Claremore was determined that Andersson was going to stay fast.
Second big tree on left. Get that light on, Anderson. Rip the off the bloody thing. 80 crest, maybe jump 120, care right 3 to left.
Andersson was silent but seemed to be obeying instructions.
Hairpin right, slippy bales.
Mole did not attack him for slowing down at corners, but made sure the pedal was to the metal straight after.
150. Go on, nail it.
There was a lot of local support out for Mole, and she did not want to disappoint. So far, so good. Long way to go. But nowhere to go for Justin Dale. He had, though, found the resolve to get out and assess the damage. There was no talking and no possible solution to change the course of his day. And although Dale seemed to know exactly what had happened, he just wanted to make sure.
It's this drive shaft this side. That's all we can make out at the moment. There we go. Yeah, have you got to...
Competition can be cruel.
Yeah. No, it's a bit disappointing, really.
What happened?
You probably saw on the big jump, we come over there, pushing hard. We've got to push hard, really. And looks like the drive shaft this side's gone. But doesn't feel too good at the moment.
Where does that leave you for the championship?
Basically, we had to come here and win anyway. Even because we finished either first or second on all the rounds, we would have to drop a second place anyway, so second place was not worth anything to us. So we had to win, and we were 20 seconds up.
As the parked Peugeot delivered the shock of the day for passing teams, Justin Dale, supported by Andrew Bargery, was finding a brave face hard to hold. As rally updates delivered Dale's demise to spectators, it was Patrick Mago's turn for a share of the limelight, and for all the right reasons. The Frenchman, who's already finished on the podium twice this year, had found form. Top time on stage 5 after a slow start. Something he shared with Martin Sansom. Stuck in third gear on the nighttime stage, his daylight rally was all about playing catch-up. But Sansom, who started the rally as leading privateer, was playing that game well. Until that bridge on stage 4 was repeated on stage 7. The landing was not as heavy as Justin Dale's, but the damage was pretty much identical.
Seems we'd had exactly the same problem as Justin had the first time over, so nothing different to what we did first time over. Not a heavy landing or anything special like that, but broken the drive shaft, so game over.
It was Peugeot's turn for the early bath, and Ford's chance to press home the advantage. If one of the Puma team could win the event, then the Manufacturers' Championships would go to Ford. If Rowe could win the rally, then the Drivers' Championship would stay open. The mechanics were making sure that Ford's rally would not self-destruct, whilst the serious Martin Rowe discussed the game plan, with real pressure coming from VW.
The battle now has just moved. It's going to be on with David Higgins. He's going very well, and you know, obviously it's good for the championship that Justin's out, but like you say, you wouldn't wish it on anyone. It was difficult to concentrate after we saw Justin, and you know, it's very, very slippery in the stage. It's easy to make a silly mistake and slide off, so we're just making sure we didn't do that on the last one. But like I say, David is now battling away, and we're quite close on the time, so we've got to keep pushing on.
The VW team were enjoying this one. At last, mechanics were tweaking hardware on a machine that looked capable of winning. Team manager Steve Bagnall had a podium place in his sights, and David Higgins was talking like he could achieve it.
Obviously, for me, it's just keep going as we are. We're making some slight improvements to the car as we go, so I think there's more to come from this end anyway. So I'm still not driving it as fast as I know I can drive yet, but obviously the car's obviously doing a bloody good job and taking me round for me, so I'll just keep doing as we're doing and see where we end up.
If Higgins failed to threaten Rowe, then perhaps Mats Andersson could. The works Proton was staying out of trouble and consistently fast, but the Swedish driver was finding it tough.
It's still very hard, it's slippy everywhere. It's so hard to see where it's damp and muddy and things like that, so you have to be very awake. The weather looks fine, but it doesn't dry, so, but it's the same for everyone, so it's just keep pushing.
And with Claire Mole on board, there was little doubt he would. But so would Higgins, who went out and delivered fastest time, equal with Martin Rowe.
Over crest and dip into left 5 and right 7, 40, left 5 at 3, 100.
Few had doubted that this car could be potent, and today David Higgins had unlocked its potential.
Right 4, then tightens into left 3 minus 70. Slowing left 5 into right 3 long.
With both the men and the machinery on form, VW made their charge for the top. Rowe came close to their time on stage 9, but Higgins was faster. The VW team beat Rowe again on the following stage. And after 10 stages, with just 3 to go, the Polo team were leading the rally, and Martin Rowe was failing to capitalise on Dale's departure.
Right 3 over crest, and left 3, 40. Left 2 over crest, jump middle, 100. Crest and left.
On stages 8, 9 and 10, Rowe had selected a softer tyre, a decision he felt cost him time.
Crest right 2, crest and care, left 3 over bumper, over crossroads, 50.
And after 1 hour and 19 minutes of rallying, every second counted. Higgins just 3 seconds ahead of Rowe. But if the intensity of that battle forced an error, then Mats Andersson was looking good for the podium.
80, left 3, tightens to 2, to right 2 minus.
But it did look as if they would need a helping hand to get there. Their times consistently just off the pace.
Care right 5 short of a crest.
But there was no let-up inside the car for the team who've been forced to pull out of 2 rallies right at the wire.
Slippy right 4, over crest slippy, 80, left 4 minus 40, left 4 minus of a crest, 80
But
down.
bad luck comes in 3s.
Right 4 tightens to 2, very slippy.
The engine note told the story.
50 up, Smanner. Fuel pressure. 50 up.
Mole did not like the sound, and the fuel pressure problem had returned. They were still in the rally though, and others around them were struggling as well. Simon Major had planted his Proton on a barbed wire plinth.
40 right.
But as Andersson tried to be gentle with his works Proton, Major had to be brutal with his and throw it back on the road, which he did. The rally had been an uphill battle for Major, but one he was handling well, leading the privateers. And with Martin Sanson out, a privateer win for Major here would take their battle into the last rally. But Max McKillen was pushing him hard. The Irish Saxo driver, who after his major smash at the Rally of Wales said he'd take a more conservative approach, was doing nothing of the sort. And once again, the Saxo shape had been sculptured by the countryside. Paul Wedgbury's blue version of the same model still looks smart, but a first night broken drive shaft meant a day with no real prospect of worrying teams at the top. He also lost reverse gear, which would have had no real consequence had he not driven into a ditch. A move that turned spectator intrigue into spectator involvement. But with a little help from his new friends and no help from reverse gear at all, Wedgbury was off.
We just spun on that one, a bit silly, but we spun on there, and I've got no reverse at the moment, so I had to wait for spectators to push us back. So I was just facing the hedge. So, but we're just having some fun. It's going well this afternoon. You know, it's just a shame we had so much trouble to start with, really. But yeah, I'm enjoying it now.
So was VW team manager Steve Bagnall. Whilst he'd been playing with the sheep, his team had been enhancing his CV. A cheeky handbrake turn from Higgins. It was all still on at the top.
It's gone good. Today we've just been chipping away all day, and now we've got ourselves into the position we want. Everything's feeling good, so just try and keep it there now.
Whilst Higgins did not want to play with his formula, it was very different for Andersson. The mechanics looking to solve a mystery that was threatening the works Proton again. There was an anxious mood in the camp, and the driver was far from relaxed.
We're a bit stressed, to be honest, having a fuel pressure problem on the last stage, so it dropped behind Magord now. I think we dropped 11 seconds on that stage to him, so...
So all they could do was slip away from the service area and hope. They were, though, out of contention at the top. David Higgins and Martin Rowe would be fighting that one out. And Justin Dale was in the Ford camp, wanting to be amongst the first to find out how it went. Whilst Rowe at the top was what Ford wanted, Patrick Mago was doing a good job of protecting their position, should the unthinkable happen, and Rowe be way off the pace or retire. Mago was looking solid in third, and was heading for his third appearance on the podium. Rowe had a task to achieve and pushed himself and his car harder than ever before.
3 plus 70, right 2, in over crest 30, crest left 1, 150.
The fastest Ford pair were giving their best times of the day. On stage 11 and 12, they were quicker than the Polo. But Higgins was going to take Rowe to the wire. There was a very different pressure in this car. They wanted to prove they could deliver, but there was not the cauldron of intensity that existed inside the Puma. Higgins was driving like he had nothing to lose.
And left 4 long, opens past post, up.
It's all right, good lad.
but he almost got into trouble.
120. Black crest, 550.
It was close to the start of the final stage. And Martin Rowe was just 8 seconds ahead of Higgins.
Yeah, I mean, we had a small brake problem which we sorted at service, and we put the harder tyre on, so got the right Pirellis on. The car's working a lot better now, so it's a bit disappointing because we were slightly wrong earlier, but it's feeling good now and we're pushed through the last one.
With body language looking good in the Ford, their rival rolled into view as Rowe and Wood prepared for combat. In the Polo, David Higgins seemed slightly unsettled.
Yeah, we lost time on that last stage because it's just we're losing a lot of power on the straights now, so we lost a little bit of time. I think Martin's just in front now.
Smoke coming from the engine was not a great confidence boost as Higgins prepared to push the Polo to the top of the podium. Rowe's face was a picture of concentration. Could the Ford team keep it all together? In the Polo, deep breaths for Higgins. Rowe was driving with massive confidence and fast. This team have been in situations like this before and come out on top.
And right 7 opens to right 4 plus.
Their time was looking fast. The mood inside sounded upbeat, but VW could still spoil their day. Higgins may have been short on top-end power, but the stage started well.
100. Right 4 minus. 30. Right 3 long, left.
Could the Polo team catch Martin Rowe?
5 long, tight, slippy. 20. Caution right 2 stone, left 2. Repeat right 2 stone, left 2. Oh.
Not now. A Polo pirouette decided the duel. It cost the VW team around 20 seconds.
Far on, 2. Right 2 stones, easy. Now get the tires clean, left 2. 300. Over small crest.
But there were no more moments like that. And it was the podium for Volkswagen, second overall. Mats Anderson did make it round. Simon Major, first privateer. Third again for Mago, the rally win for Rowe, and no complaints from VW.
Second is still a fantastic result for Volkswagen. All the guys have worked very hard, but it would have been so much nicer to have that place higher, but second still good. The car is very good in the slippery conditions, and I imagine the next rally to be quite slippery and everything anyway, so if we can be doing the stuff on there, there's no reason why we can't go there expecting to try and win that one and finish on a real high.
So with one rally to go, it's between Major and Sansom in the privateers, and following Dale's bad luck and Rowe's brilliance, their head-to-head continues.
For the championship, to keep any hopes alive, we had to get 10 points, maximum points. Second place is just not good enough, so we're pleased we've done that.
Ford, though, have completed their job in the Manufacturers' Championships. Peugeot pushed them hard, even leapfrogged over them at one point, but Ford were winners.
Puma's a competitive car, and I think it's been sewn up here today. I don't think Peugeot can. I think we've won the manufacturers for Ford. That's good. That's put a smile on our team manager's face, and that takes a lot to do that, I can tell you.
So a combination of champagne, celebration, and relief for Rowe. Next time, we'll bring you the climax of Formula Rally from Banbury.
More Formula Rally at the earlier time of 7:30 next week. Full throttle next Saturday at 11 in the Formula 4 power boating. Go to extremes with 4 in a couple of minutes. Manchester's Free Sport Festival, Totally Bored, next.